On Bond Connect, you've announced it. Southbound trading is in the works.
Yeah.
Will it happen this year, and when exactly this year, and how are you going to do it, and how big?
The Hong Kong Monetary Authority has been working very closely with the People's Bank of China on the mainland. Our target indeed is to have the southbound Bond Connect to be launched as soon as possible. Within this year is our target.
Okay.
Yeah, we are working very hard to prepare for that. And we are also preparing ourselves in terms of the infrastructure. The CMU, the Central Monetary Unit within the Hong Kong MA, which will be a very important infrastructure in terms of being the custodian for the bonds. We are gearing that up as well. So with increasing product offering in Hong Kong and the increasing interest of mainland investors in allocating their investments internationally, southbound Bond Connect will be a very exciting development.
Right. A year is a very long time in this era, so could you narrow the time frame to maybe Q2, Q3? What are we looking at?
We are aiming to do it as soon as possible. Well, we will do our best. Yeah.
But your own estimate, what would be considered a successful launch? Q2, Q3, Q4?
Probably the early second part of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But speaking of policy objective, the property tax you have just mentioned is closing the wealth gap part of the policy objective?
Closing the wealth gap would be a much bigger agenda to address. Tax is, of course, one means, and resorting to that particular means require a fundamental review of our tax system. And it is not the way to tax people, but the consensus of the community as to how tax as a means to address that particular issue, the wealth gap issue. That is one area. But to address the wealth gap, I think property is one key area. Okay. Because nowadays with quantitative easing all over the world, people are talking about asset bubbles, talking about appreciation in properties. So resolving the property issue in Hong Kong is an important matter. Also, in terms of equal opportunities for children, for young people, to pursue their dreams, to have upward mobility, is another area. So I think this issue you mentioned, Olga, is a much broader issue, worth a lot of thoughts and discussion in the community.
At first, in your budget speech, you talked a fair bit on the fraught US-China relationship and how this will make things rather difficult for Hong Kong. But then some people are saying that Hong Kong has been a beneficiary of that very difficult relationship because of the influx of mainland investment that would have otherwise gone to the US and the secondary listings and the record number of IPOs last year. So what is your view on how actually Hong Kong does stand to benefit from a difficult relationship?
Well, the relationship between the mainland and the US will continue to be tense, although the administration of the US government has changed, but the fundamental deep-seated issues between China and US remain there. We expect this to continue. There may be ups and downs, but hopefully there won't be any breakdown in the relationship. But during these ups and downs, there may be challenges for us to cope with. Just like last year, there were so-called sanctions against some of the officials, and also some changes in U.S. policy towards Hong Kong. We have to deal with it. We have to prepare, have contingency plan for various scenarios. But on the other hand, as Surada, you rightly point out, traditionally Hong Kong has a very unique role to play, meaning that this is a gateway, a very important gateway and window, the East meeting the West. We will continue to enhance, we will continue to harness Hong Kong's unique position under the one country, two system. On the one hand, by participating in the internal circulation of the mainland, help us capture their consumer market opportunities. On the other hand, with the one country, two system, with our international network, we can help with the international circulation aspect of the mainland economic development strategy. Financial services is one key area. We can play a very proactive role. Not just the property market, but also internationalization of renminbi, asset management, wealth management, a bridge between international capital into the mainland, like the connect arrangements, and the domestic and the mainland capital going into the international market. Aside from that, innovation and technology is another area that we think we have a unique role to play. By working with the neighboring cities like Shenzhen, Dongguan, so that we can build a complete value chain from research to commercialization to mass production. That is another area. So we will continue to monitor the situation and to find a way to maximize our unique positioning.